Okay, is there sound? One, two, three. Looks like we have sound. Had a problem with that last week, but it looks like we're good. Okay, there's a lot of information coming out right now about Alec Baldwin. To put in perspective, first, whenever I had an entertainment lawyer on recently to talk about what we could expect from the entertainment side, what we could expect from the legal side in terms of what could happen to Alec Baldwin, what could happen to his career, what could happen to public opinion, things like that. And pretty much the entertainment lawyer came to a conclusion, which I thought made sense, which was this is going to be seen as a workplace hazard unless we get information that comes out that contradicts what people are saying in their testimonies, or if there's something that comes out that is seen as so incredibly egregious that they're going to have to go for criminal charges. So either workplace problem where the producer, the head producer, which is not Alec Baldwin, gets sued out of existence, or they're going to have to go after one person if something really criminal and very negligent from one individual happened. And the thought was that it wasn't going to be that because he said there was too much time that's passed. Normally, if there's something like that, then they're going to go ahead and give the information, they're going to give the data, and they're going to make an arrest. And since that hadn't happened, he was pretty much saying, I don't think we're going to really be seeing any criminal charges here. So, but there's a lot of stuff now that has come out. Honestly, the story had gone very quiet for a while. There's a lot of information that has now come out that is contradicting what Alec Baldwin said was happening. We've got footage from the set happening, footage from body cams interrogating people happening or questioning people happening. We've got footage from the actual interrogation room where they were talking with Alec Baldwin, and it shows him kind of talking through what it was that was happening. We've got footage like immediately after it happened from outside the set, footage from inside the interrogation room at the police station. So, and yeah, we've just got a bunch of different statements coming out, one of which Alec Baldwin made a statement today saying he no longer wants to be a public persona. Ooh, surprise. Shocking that Alec Baldwin doesn't want to be a public persona anymore. But okay, so let's go ahead and break down what is essentially on the thumbnail of this video. And I don't have the capabilities to actually show what I'm looking at, but there is an actual footage from the camera, from Halyna Hutchinson's camera, showing Alec Baldwin pretty much before. This looks like it's minutes before the shooting actually happened. The reason that this is a big deal is that in the ABC interviews and every statement that Alec Baldwin has made, he has said very clearly, multiple times, that really there was a malfunction with the weapon. This is not, this is him saying it. This is not a case where you have a weapon that he misused and that he pulled the trigger. He said this in that ABC interview. You never pull the trigger. You never pull the trigger. Maybe you pull the hammer back, but no, he says you never do that. That's something that you never do. So, okay. He said it's something that you never do. Time goes by. We don't hear anyone really negating that. What this is saying, what this is showing, so, and that's really what even the entertainment lawyer was saying is, which by the name is Chris Wheeler, great follow online. What he was saying, what Alec Baldwin was saying is that that's protocol. That is what protocol is. He was saying my definition of the protocol that I had been taught for years and years and years is that you do not pull the trigger. And this is really looking at it from a legal perspective, if that's protocol, he's saying that's the protocol he has, he can back that up with another expert, then you can't say that he was doing something outside of the purview of what you would normally do on that set. Now, if we have got footage of him pulling out during a practice session, he is pulling out a gun with his hand on the trigger, then my question at this point is, how in the world are we supposed to believe that you were following your own protocol whenever we now have close-up footage? This is like, looks like they are about to film from this angle on the camera. We have close-up footage, a close-up of your hand with your finger on the trigger minutes before. And I'm seeing a ton of people. I'm seeing a ton of people on Twitter right now that are saying, "Hey, the gun didn't fire." I'm confused. Why is this newsworthy? The gun didn't fire. If the gun didn't fire, then what are we looking at here? Why is this footage important? This is important. If anyone asks, why in the world should we care about this? This is important because a whole reason that is keeping Alec Baldwin from scrutiny is saying, I was following the protocol that I have known and that I've worked with for years and years and years. And if that protocol, he is saying, is that you don't put your finger on the trigger, that's why I didn't put my finger on the trigger. That's why you can't tell me that I'm in any way responsible because my finger wasn't even on the trigger of that gun, meaning that the gun must have misfired. All of that, like that whole line of logic is building his way to saying, therefore, the gun misfired because I don't put my finger on the trigger. That's just not what you do. If we now have footage of him doing that, then the question is, okay, you say that your own protocol is that you don't put your finger on the trigger. So we have, how are we supposed to believe that you are telling the truth that you didn't put your finger on the trigger if we now have a close-up video of you doing that from the camera itself? Like I'm telling you, that camera is no more than 1.5 feet away from his hand, and we've got a close-up of his finger behind the gate. And he, like, it is, so that's the first point. Again, we're just really on the first point of I'm saying, evidence that comes out that the police have released. And that's a huge one because that honestly, that does what because I thought Baldwin was going to be charged with something criminal. Like he had to have been, I thought. And really from the interview that I did, and that's on the channel, you can check it out. That was dispelled. I thought, oh, there's no way. But this completely negates everything that he was even saying in his own defense. So I just don't, I after seeing this only first, and again, we've got a lot of stuff to look at here right now. This is just the first piece of evidence that the police have released. And the fact that we're getting information now, the fact that the police are releasing information, I can't help but feel like we're going to get some type of statement from them. Like it feels like this is building towards something. This is such a public case. You can see, Baldwin was such an idiot in that ABC interview that he did. The very fact that he said on TV, he felt no guilt. He was walking you through and this is why that ABC interview was so terrible. He went out there and said, here's what I did, here's what I didn't do, and here's my defense. And it's like, okay, great. You took your time in the stand. And now the police have been taking their time to gather information, gather data, just figure out what in the world is going on. And the fact that they're releasing stuff that does this, just one piece that speaks so counter to what Baldwin was saying, makes it seem like if we're playing in the court of public opinion, they are getting ready to bring something to light. They're going to bring some type of charges. And I don't think that it's going to be very positive for Baldwin because what they're releasing to the public is so counter to what it is that he's saying. Another big part of what they said, let me find it here, the article that is, and yeah, again, if you're just joining the only thing Alec Baldwin has really said about this is that he doesn't want to be a public persona, which I find hilarious. So the actual sheriff's department is saying Alec Baldwin and no one is off the hook for charges over the deadly Rust shooting. Again, that was said by the sheriff. So I'm going to take you through this article seeing exactly what it is they said. Also, answer the poll if you don't mind. We've got 3 votes. Is Alec Baldwin going to prison? 100% of people are saying yes. Also, be sure to subscribe to 5 Minute Critic. I think it helps boost the numbers. Press that like button. That really helps boost the numbers. I feel like this account might be being shadow banned or something because they don't like to push out our content. So press the like button, please, if you're watching this. So back to the article on the New York Post where the sheriff is saying no one is off the hook right now. It says Alec Baldwin is still not off the hook for criminal charges nearly 6 months after he accidentally shot and killed cinematographer Halyna Hutchins, the sheriff leading the investigation warned on Tuesday. So I think that is a very important thing, even the phrasing there. I like that they even say 6 months because there is an impression if a lot of time goes by in an investigation, then they probably aren't going to bring down criminal charges. There'll probably be a lot of civil lawsuits, but this is making it seem like that's not the case. Just because it's taking a long time, I think still means that there is something at play in terms of criminal charges. And then it even says accidental, and I'm happy that they say accidental because there's a lot of defense of Alec Baldwin that comes into play when you talk about whether it was an accident, whether it was on purpose. I see people online that seem to really want Alec Baldwin to go to jail who say, oh, it was an accident. I feel so bad for him. Like he didn't mean to do this. Oh, what a poor soul. And he talks about this all the time on his own. What a poor soul. He didn't mean to do it. Why should we be so mean or upset with him? But someone like him, he's a producer on this movie. He is benefiting from this project financially. He is in charge. He is liable for what's going on in that set. And he is one of the people responsible for things going wrong. That's why you're earning so much money, because you are carrying the weight of responsibility. That's great when things go well. that is not good whenever things don't go well. And things did not go well here. And he was not only a producer, he obviously was the one holding the gun. He was the one holding and managing the gun whenever it went off. And even if this is an accident, which I also think it is, I still think there needs to absolutely 100% be consequences for what's going on. Just because it could be an accident, just because it was an accident, I don't think means, especially for someone as powerful as Baldwin, I don't think that means that you should then no longer have to face any consequences. So I am more than happy anytime I see someone saying that, yes, you know what, it's been a long time and it's been an accident. Doesn't matter. If it's been a long time and we're still going to charges, all that means the police is taking their time to make sure that they cross their T's and dot their I's. And even if it's an accident, that doesn't really matter. The guy's responsible. He's a producer. He's not even just an actor on this thing. He's making money from this project. You got to make sure everyone is safe. So the article then continues with a quote, "It is too early to rule anything out right now," the Santa Fe County Sheriff says. He told the Today Show Tuesday of the massive ongoing investigation into the October 21st shooting on the New Mexico set. And honestly, with all this, with releasing the footage, of on the set, the in-camera footage, of releasing body cam footage, of releasing the interrogation that they did of Baldwin at the police station, I was not aware that there would be all of this stuff that they were looking at. I'm surprised that they're releasing all of it, but the fact that they're releasing all of it makes it seem like there's something else going on other than just, hey, we just want to release stuff. It sounds like there's something that's probably going to come on the heels of this. So after that, goes on to another quote, says, "I don't think anybody's off the hook when it comes to criminal charges," he stressed, saying again. He then said, "I've said this before. I think there was complacency on the set. There was disorganization and a degree of negligence. Whether that rises to a criminal level, that is going to be up to the district attorney." The sheriff confirmed that was still the possibility. Oh, the sheriff confirmed that there was still the possibility of criminal liability for Baldwin specifically when asked about the actor's insistence that he was not responsible, despite being the one holding the gun when the fatal shot was fired. And that is very interesting because, again, that ABC interview that he did was just so bizarre. He said in that he had been talking to people in New Mexico and that based on the conversations he was having with people, the impression he was given is that he would not face any charges, that there would not be any charges, that it was pretty much seen as an open and shut case, that nothing was going to go wrong with him. And I don't know what that is. There's something else with this whole story, just a level of hubris. I don't know if that's what it is. Just a feeling like there's nothing that's ever going to go wrong, which I don't understand. It just seems like such a strange level of delusion. But there it is. The sheriff is confirming that even though Baldwin has said multiple times that he does not expect to be charged, that is actually not off the table. We then go on, and another quote that they give, whether he is responsible or not is in the end going to be decided by the district attorney's office. The amount of stuff that's coming in here, it's so counter to everything that he's been saying that it seems like that's the thing that makes you ask questions. And honestly, that's why I feel like you shut up. Even though I'm not a fan of Alec Baldwin, you are kind of like, dude, you need to shut up, because like everything that you're saying, if anything runs counter to it, you're setting yourself up for disaster. So it then goes on. Mendoza, whose office released a trove of videos and documents on Monday, said that investigators and prosecutors were still going through a tremendous amount of information, with more awaited. So I wonder what else is going on, like what else we are to expect. Another quote says, "The investigative case right now is 200 plus pages, so there's a lot of information that we're going through. We're still waiting on the forensics from the FBI crime lab, along with the final report from the Office of the Medical Investigator. And there's a few things that we have to shore up with this investigation," he said. He also said that his team has yet to determine exactly how a live bullet ended up on set, while noting a concerning text message. Oh, man. While noting a concerning text message from rookie armor Hannah Gutierrez Reed trying to get live bullets on an earlier set. What in the world? That's part of the problem. Like, not only, and again, remember, this is an armorer who had been fired from a Nicolas Cage movie, and that Nicolas Cage actually had confronted on a set because she was just behaving so erratically, so negligently. And just to have Alec Baldwin on the set and to not kind of be aware, and remember also the context of what was going on. People actually left the set. They quit their jobs. One of the reasons they gave was that the guns were misfiring, that there was live ammunition. There's just, of course, I think the armor herself seems to have a level of negligence that is just unbelievable. And the more that I read, I do feel like there's going to be charges for her as well. And but again, I think the bigger thing is that there is such a pressure coming from this information that's been released today that I also feel like Alec Baldwin is probably going to face something. Then it goes on. Right now, no one's come forward and admitted it to bringing the live rounds onto the movie set. Then it goes on to kind of show some photos around the set. And then this article ends. However, there was information from text messages that was concerning based on the fact that live ammo was spoken about and was possibly used on another set even prior to this one. He then goes on to say that was just a few months before the Rust movie set and production began. So that is very concerning. And yes, that is very concerning. If you're just joining us, we've essentially looked at two pieces of information that have come out today. There's a lot of information coming out. Alec Baldwin, footage of him right before from the actual camera, from Halyna Hutchins's camera, was released, showing him with his finger on the trigger, which is something that he said that he not only didn't do, his protocol throughout his career has made it so that he never does that. That's what he has said his protocol is. To have footage showing differently is a huge deal. And if you're just joining us, please press the like button because that is going to push this live stream out into the algorithm more, and we could really use the help. That'd be a big help. The next piece of information is actually released from the interview that the cops conducted that day with Alec Baldwin. So also in the comments, we've got Tarot Realms has just joined. He should go to prison, but I don't think that he will. Let's see. What does the poll say? We've got the poll with 6 votes right now in the comments. Will Baldwin go to prison? Right now, it's split 50-50. So we've got 6 votes. 3 people think he's going to jail. 3 people think he's not going to jail. Answer your thoughts there. Again, not what you think should happen, what you think is going to end up happening. Also, hello, Michael Kelly, if you're still in the chat. So yeah, if you are just joining, press the like button. It helps the algorithm, helps push the live stream. It'd be a huge help for the channel. I think if you are just joining, I think the problem with what we're seeing is, from Baldwin's perspective, is that this is not matching up with any of his statements in terms of what his protocol normally is. And what his protocol normally is, I think, is the only thing keeping him from having to face charges. Because, and this is another point, everyone out there, because I spoke with an entertainment lawyer about this, everyone out there that is saying everything that has come out with the facts that we know, he's probably not going to face anything criminally. We had another lawyer on the stream that said, but if there is anything anyone says in a deposition, if there's anything anyone says in public that goes counter to what is being shown in the evidence, then that is incredibly mysterious. That is very shady, and that can without a doubt lead to criminal charges. And from what Alec Baldwin said in the ABC interview, the information that's coming out today runs completely counter to everything that he was saying, especially his claim that he did not put his finger on the trigger, which we now show that when he was practicing, he actually was doing that. So again, I'm not able to share this video for you, but they have subtitles, so I'll read it. So essentially, this is showing Alec Baldwin in the police station. You've got 2 investigators next to him asking him questions, and he's sitting down. He's describing, and this is literally, it seems like maybe an hour afterwards. He is saying it was a very tight shot. He then frames the shot was here. It was not of me. It was of me and the gun. I then slowly pulled it, and then cocked it and then pointed it like that. Then the investigator says, all right. And then she's right there. And then he says, yes. And she's right there. She's in front of them in a position she wouldn't ordinarily be in if we were actually shooting. And this gun then goes boom. She hits the ground, and that's the entire thing. So I don't think from that, I'm not sure what we can actually get from that. It seems like he's reliably saying what we actually then see from the footage that just recently came out. And that's one thing that I'll say, an important point from this. I do think that he's being sincere that it was an accident. But the problem comes into just because it was an accident, I don't think means that you shouldn't face any consequences, especially since somebody died here. There's going to have to be something on the other side of that balance that's going to even out the fact that like a kid lost his mother. This is it. So then another piece of information that came out is the police body cam footage, because obviously you've got officers that are walking around on the set, and we see they release body cam footage showing the actual set. You see Baldwin, you see kind of what the mood was right after the set happened. So this is from Sky News. Reading the article, it says police body cams and dash cams, as well as footage from inside the hospital, show previously unreleased moments surrounding the shooting on the set of the Western film Rust. Cinematographer Halyna Hutchins died after a prop gun held by star and producer Alec Baldwin went off during a rehearsal. So the actor is seen in the background during the police investigation. You essentially see a lot of cops that are going around. They walk onto the set. There's nothing really on the set that you're seeing that kind of points to. Honestly, the bigger deal I think is seeing how everyone else is reacting. Because we know that people that we're seeing in this video are suing Baldwin, suing the producers, and one thing that some of the other producers have used in their defense is to say we couldn't be liable. We couldn't be guilty because the people that were on set that day were coming up and comforting us. They were coming up and they were saying it's not our fault. Baldwin said, in particular, one person who had filed, I forget what lawsuit it was, but one person filed a lawsuit against him. It wasn't a wrongful death suit, but they filed something against Baldwin. And Baldwin, in that ABC interview, then went on to say, it doesn't make any sense why this lawsuit would take place because that person that filed the lawsuit came up to me and he said to me, this isn't your fault, that you did nothing wrong here. There's no way that you could be held responsible for what happened here. So he's pretty much saying, how could these people, like, what were you telling the truth then or were you telling the truth now? And you have to, I think, give yourself the understanding or have the understanding that in this situation, tensions are so high, there's so much shock that people saying that doesn't really make any sense. Like that's a stupid defense. And the Baldwin and producers have been using that. That's a stupid defense. And to see the people here, the people that were suing him, that are suing him, and just be like, imagine yourself in that situation. You're not going to understand what's going on until hours after, and you kind of see that level of shock in people's faces. I think that's an important thing to remember, because if they keep using that in the future, like, oh, they were nice to us on that day, they told us it wasn't our fault. It was like, well, they're in shock. To see them in shock, I think is important. Let's see. And then they show the armor being questioned. And I've got to say, she's very young, looks very inexperienced. From what we know, seems very inexperienced. So going on a bit more from what they're saying here, it says, never before seen footage has been released of the moments before and after Rust cinematographer Halyna Hutchins was killed on set. Police in New Mexico have made public all files associated with the ongoing criminal investigation into her death. And then it says, one of the clips shows police and medics racing to the scene with body cam footage showing first responders battling to save Miss Hutchins. Another shows Hollywood star Alec Baldwin rehearsing, pulling the gun that eventually killed her. Miss Hutchins then died later that day. The actress was one of the producers. And yeah, then it goes on to show the shot, which is just really... Actually, I had not seen this entire thing. So it shows Alec Baldwin sitting down and he then stands up. The camera pans down to him. He then swipes the gun out and he does have his finger behind the trigger. And then it shows cops walking around. And no, you can see, they show the blood, everything they have to show the blood. They're going over to the cart to see all of the props. It then says police body cam footage then capture the actor being asked about the incident. Baldwin denies pulling the trigger and says he does not know how the live round came to be on set. There are also moments filmed from other officers' lapel cameras in the hospital with Miss Souza. Honestly, I am not even seeing those, so maybe they have not released those. I don't know what we would get from seeing that. I don't know if that's useful to us. Then people just describe what the situation was seeing, and then there are photos of the blood in the on the set, and then it does detail that New Mexico has filed a fine for $139,793 from the production company. Let's see if there's anything else that I have from these articles here. Most people are just saying, yeah, and this is people from there that are involved in the police department are saying nobody is off the hook right now. And I will say, and a good note for Alec Baldwin is you can see him with everyone else. Everyone is in shock. You see a lot of people crying around him. This is from the body cam footage. And he's being very cooperative with the cops. And honestly, I feel like the next stage that's going to come from this is, I don't think it's going to be helpful for anyone to say that he did this on purpose, because I think that's going to kind of push all of this in the opposite direction of where it should go. I think that almost helps him more to say that this was done on purpose. I think that the right thing would be to say that this is an accident, and that there needs to be consequences for everyone that was involved. Really, from I would say the armor to Baldwin, to absolutely be some type of at least questioning, even arrest, just to get more information, because it makes absolutely no sense that what he was saying in the ABC interview now is not what is actually going on. Is not what's going on with the information that's coming out here. Last thing I'll kind of read is from this Rolling Stone article that gives some transcription of the body cam footage. So, in the several hours long footage obtained by Rolling Stone, which includes interviews with crew members as well as with distraught armor Hannah Gutierrez, Baldwin asks, "How is she?" referring to Hutchins. An officer tells him that her status is questionable right now. As the actor sits somberly, someone on the crew tells the officers that they cleared the gun after the incidents. That the one that fired, we don't know, but all of the others were proper and cleared, the crew member said, meaning that the firearms were loaded with blanks. Another person approaches and asks Baldwin if he is all right. He says, "No, I am not all right. I am worried about her." The actress says, again referring to Hutchins, "What's her situation?" He's told that she has been shot in one shoulder and that the bullet went through her other shoulder, which is why it's not good, the man then says. The men also discussed they believed a blank was loaded into the gun when the shooting occurred. While on the Rust set last October, Baldwin shot and killed Hutchins and wounded director Joel Souza, who was also shot but survived. It then goes on to again detail the amount that was charged and that they paid. Let's see if there's in terms of, because Alec Baldwin was trending, which he normally does twice a week now or so. But I will say one thing that seems to be different than the information that's coming out right now. It looks like the attitude of the reporting is much more neutral than it used to be. There's been a weird thing. There was a weird thing going on with the Oscars with the whole Amy Schumer making a joke about Alec Baldwin thing. There's a weird attitude towards this. I think, and that's kind of why I like to continue following the story, not so much because of this is obviously a criminal case, and the amount of detailing and comments that can be made in terms of the legal, in terms of the criminal side, are best to come from lawyers and just professionals in that end. But when it comes to the entertainment industry, there's obviously a very large amount of, I would say, bad will coming from the industry towards the audience, and again towards the audience to the industry. It's not in a good state right now. And that's kind of the lens we see everything through here, whether it is the Oscars, whether it is blockbusters. There's just a lot of hatred in both directions. And one thing is celebrity culture. I think most people hate celebrity culture. They find it annoying. And a reason they find it annoying is that people have an insane amount of privilege, like Alec Baldwin. They don't like that this type of thing can happen and then nothing goes wrong. So the tone seems to be shifting right now. It seems to be saying that the people that were neutral in the beginning now feel like there needs to be repercussions and consequences for Baldwin. People who were pretty much saying, we don't know, Alec Baldwin, maybe he's okay. We'll just kind of see what happens. Maybe we just don't talk about it. It comes up. It's like, have a heart. Have a heart. Something terrible happened. We can't joke about Alec Baldwin. That attitude seems to be coming a little bit more towards the center, because the thing is, if Alec Baldwin goes down, then they're going to throw him under the bus. And the way that this is coming out, this looks like Baldwin was not being upfront with what was actually going on the set that day. And as the lawyer on the channel said when we interviewed him, and you can check out that interview here, if you just look at the facts, it is probably not going to be the case anyone goes to jail. But if people are saying things in public that are then shown to be untrue, then that is going to be people setting themselves up for criminal charges. And the information that came out today is important, because that is what that information is doing. On ABC, when he did that interview, Baldwin said he followed protocol. He followed the protocol that he'd been told about for over 4 decades. And that is that, first of all, you are not, as an actor, supposed to look in the gun. You're not supposed to check the chamber, and you are not supposed to pull the trigger unless you are told to. Now, he never said that he was told to pull the trigger. He said that he never even put his finger on the trigger. He said he never even put his hand in the gate. We now see that whenever he was practicing this very scene that ended up in someone losing their life, that is not true. That is not what happened. He was doing that. So at that point, I think you don't need to go on TV to kind of just say whatever you want. You actually need to be questioned in a more I don't know, just official, I would say just official perspective. And we'll see what happens. And yeah, I would still say it was not on purpose, but it was definitely negligent. And I mean, from the looks of it, it looks like it was probably criminally negligent. So as more information comes out, we'll keep breaking down what happens. If you have not already, please subscribe to the channel. That helps boost the engagement. It helps boost our signal on YouTube. Also, please like this video. That also really, really helps a lot. It helps more than viewing it. Honestly, that helps push it to other audiences because we're trying to build an audience here. So thank you all very much for taking the time to join. If you have any questions, just comment below, and yeah, share the video, and do please subscribe to 5 Minute Critic for future updates on reviews and movie news.